like this is the discussion of George Gascoigne's upon the theme magnum victigale parsimoniae, which means something like thrift is its own income. It's a line from Cicero from his Paradoxes. The common speech is, spend and God will send, but what sends he? A bottle and a bag. The bottle and bag are indicative of a beggar. As is the next line, a staffe, a wallet, and a wofull end, for such as list in bravery, so to bragge. So, he's saying that a person who says, spend and God will send, is a person speaking in bravery as a braggart. Bravery, in this case, meaning someone who's standing, well off, says, spend and God will send. Because they have no fear, they have means. Yet, to do so, he says, will lead eventually to the life of a beggar. Then if thou covet coyne enough to spend, learn first to spare thy budget at the brink, so shall the bottom be the faster bound. But he that list with lavish hand to linke, in like experience a penny with a pound, may chance at last to sit aside and shrink his harbraind head without Dame Dainty's dore. So he's saying, if you learn to budget well, learn first to spare thy budget at the brink, then he says, you will actually reach the end goal faster. However, if you use a lavished hand to link a penny with a pound, meaning to add a penny to a pound or to add a pound to a penny when you're spending, like I'm already going to spend a penny, I'll spend a pound, then you may chance at last, to sit aside and shrink his harebrained head without Dame Dainty's dore. Or, in other words, you will sit outside of Dame Dainty's dore, a beggar, because you have spent too much. Hick, Hob, and Dick, with clouts upon their knees, have many times more goonhole grotes in store, and change of crowns more quick at call than he, which let their lease and took their rent before. So he's saying, these common stereotypical country characters, Hick, Hob, and Dick, with clouts upon their knees, so dirty-kneed because they're working in the fields or doing some other manual labor, they often have more money than the person who is actually renting out the land they're working on. For he that wraps a royall on his cap, before he put one penny in his purse, had need turn quick and broach a better tap, or else his drink may chance go down the worse. And that's just saying, if you're going to spend mightily on your appearance rather than save, then you need to turn around and readjust your behavior. At need, turn quick and broach a better tap. You need to go a better way, or else his drink may chance go down the worse. You won't be able to drink in peace because of the sorry state that you will have put yourself in. I not deny, but some men have good hap to climb aloft by scales of courtly grace, and win the world with liberality. I don't deny that some people are able to use a certain courtly grace and liberality, liberality meaning, of course, the virtue of liberality, as described by Aristotle, to spend as one ought, not worry so much about the giving and taking in exact numbers, to be generous, essentially. Yet he that yerks old angels out apace, and hath no new to purchase dignity, when orders fall, may chance to lack his grace. So angels are, golden coins. So if you're grabbing out your angels quickly, and you don't have any new ones left to purchase your dignity, to clothe yourself in the manner of the court, so on and so forth. When orders fall, may chance to lack his grace. When you get into a position where you could rise to a new, higher rank at court, if you don't have the money to buy the clothes you need to clothe your dignity, then to purchase your dignity, then you may be out of luck. For haggard hawks mislike an empty hand. That is, in hawking, a hawk expects to be fed when it comes back to you. You hold a little bit of meat in your gloved hand, or in your other hand perhaps, and you give it the meat when it returns. It returns on the expectation of that meat. For haggard hawks mislike an empty hand, so stiffly some stick to the mercer's stall. So aggressively people visit the shops to buy their fancy wares that, it says, so stiffly some stick to the mercer's stall, till suits of silk have sweat out all their land. So, until they've used all of their income to purchase suits of silk so that they can look so good. But now they have nothing to feed the hawk with. So this is another way in which they can fall short at court. So oft thy neighbours banquet in thy hall, till Davy Det in thy parlour stand, and bids thee welcome to thine own decay. So you put on too many parties, and all of a sudden Davy Det, that is simply the personification of debt, stands in your parlour asking for you to pay your debts. And then you realize your own decay. He bids you welcome to your own decay. I like a lion's looks not worth a leek, when every fox beguiles him of his prey. What sauce but sorrow serveth him a week, which all his cates consumeth in one day. So the lion doesn't look too great when he's not able to actually catch any of his prey, because the fox is too wily to let him have any of it. And what good is the sauce, the delicious things, of the man who consumes them all in one day? First use thy stomach to a stond of ale before thy malmesy comes in merchants' books, or in other words, drink cheaper alcohol, and rather wear for shift thy shirt of mail, than tear thy silken sleeves with tinter hooks. So, wear cheaper clothing. Put feathers in thy pillows great and small. Let them be pricked with plumes that gape for plumes. Give the plumes that you would otherwise wear in your hat to the people who want them, and don't use them for that purpose. Just fill your pillows with them instead. Heap up both gold and silver safe in hooches, so put them away in safe keeping. Catch, snatch, and scratch for scrapings and for crumbs, so save up everything you can. Before thou deck thy hat on high with brooches. So again, going back to like the image of plumes, use the feathers for something practical instead of putting them in your hat, and save all of your gold and silver instead of having it made into a brooch to put on your hat. Let first thine own hand hold fast all that comes, so keep what you get, before that other learn his letting fly. Learn to be frugal, and to be more frugal than the other who lets his earnings fly away from him. Remember still that soft fire makes sweet malt. No haste, but good, who means to multiply. So, slow and steady wins the race, essentially. Bought white is dear, and dressed with sour salt. So, you buy something white. This line is somewhat unclear, but you buy something white, you have to keep it white, and that's difficult. Dressed with sour salt. Perhaps the process of maintaining the whiteness of clothing. Repentance comes too late, and then say I, who spares the first and keeps the last unspent, shall find that sparing yields a goodly rent. Or in other words, the point of the main quotation on which this poem was written, and by which this poem was inspired. Saving is itself a sort of income. And then the last statement here, sic tuli, means something like, thus is my burden, thus is my hardship. So overall, this is a poem about, why you should save your money and not spend it on frivolous things. And obviously it's aimed at a upper class audience. It's consistently referencing fine clothing. It's consistently referencing landlord sort of arrangements, situations at court. Obviously, these are all things that would be on the mind of and relevant to people in the upper class, at least in the gentry, if not in the nobility as well. So he's talking to his audience of likely a coterie audience, meaning an audience of people who are acquainted with him, that they're passing poetry around to. This is still, in this time period, in the 16th century, we still have the growth, the very early days of printing in England, printing for a general public. And so the coterie tradition is still alive and well, whereby you would write poems and share them with your friends, and they would then copy them and share them with their friends, and you would have an an e-book, where you would copy in all of your poetry that you got from your friends and so on and so forth, and you could go back and read it if you wanted to, when you wanted to. So we get poems that are both directed at specific people, and we also get poems that are directed at particular groups of people. And occasionally we get poems that are directed just at a general audience, but that's rarer with the coterie poems, because of course you know your audience in an intimate way. In the modern day, with printing, publishing, we can't know our audience in that much detail. So they're operating in a different context that allows them to be more specific.